Welcome to Down South Football, people. This your boy Renard Williams. Below me, we got your boy David Gardner. Then to the other side of me, Chauncey Tuck, and below him, we got I am DJ Double Dose, aka Ben Dennis. Fellas, we had a great weekend of football, man. Something we've been finally waiting for. Something we've been finally getting an actual full slate that was, no disrespect to the other teams, that was really worth watching. So I'm happy. I'm happy that we had that. So how y'all felt about this weekend, Dave?
It was
Weekend was good, man. I mean, I actually had too much to watch.
Right.
To be honest, I think I missed more than I watched.
Right.
Because I was all over the place from the doggone NBA, college. I mean, it was. I mean, I legitimately missed some games because I got caught up in some other games and
Right.
I don't know, man. It was too much for me. I clearly don't have enough TVs. That's what I figured out.
Right. I think I figured that out about myself last year. So Tuck, what about you, man?
Same thing as Dave. It was a lot going on. Shout out to the Lakers. Appreciate you, AD and LeBron and all them.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think it was a great slate of games. I think the Big 12 should have opted out this year also.
They definitely reconsidering some things.
We about to get into it.
Right, and I feel as though there was some great games. It wasn't, it was spread out a little bit as far as the games, as far as little. Not blowouts. It was not too many blowouts, but it was a couple good games. Again, this is first week. These guys really haven't had a spring and all that stuff. But for what I saw on TV, it wasn't bad. I'm just glad to hear, some thuds going out there and hitting somebody. So right. I was okay with a lot of the football coverage this weekend.
Okay, Ben.
I mean, it was good, man. Depending on what side of the fence you stand on, man, it was good. As far as how did everything play itself out? I mean, you had a lot of interesting surprises that was in there that I don't think a lot of people expected. But overall, it was a real good weekend, man. Like Dave said, you had basketball going, which was kind of odd, but it is where we are right now. Trying to worry about a basketball game in September or one that matters. In September,
right.
why we got a full slate of football. But all in all, man, this is what we've been wanting. We've been waiting for months for this. So, man, all in all, it's a good weekend.
All right, cool. Before we get into some games, man, since today is Monday, September 14th, we had a little bit of news that dropped today. Some interesting news for one SEC team and one Big 12 team. Jamon Osborne, who is Texas A&M leading returning receiver, he opted out of the season today, and that leaves them a nice little hole that I don't know. Not that they don't have talent, I don't know where they're gonna get their production from. Right. We had him opting out, and then the other weird news of the day was Texas safety BJ Foster, a former Rivals 100 recruit now, quits at halftime of the game. Literally said, "You know what? The hell with it. I'm taking my stuff off. I'm done." And according to Herman, he said that BJ got a little frustrated and they're going to handle it internally. And apparently he was back at practice. I don't know as a team, I would handle that as a teammate, but let's just get a little bit of thoughts about those two things. Dave, you got it? You got anything on it?
I mean, what did they ever say what he was frustrated about?
Just apparently frustrated about what was going on.
Like what is it, like play calling, or lack of, what? I mean, what they really ever say?
They didn't really go into details.
No, this kid probably playing time.
Yeah, and with something like that, you can actually you really can handle it internally. I think they'll get him back, but the kid's just probably frustrated. You just never know what be going on. I mean, internally, because the only thing we get is these stories, kind of like at the last minute and things like that, or at the time they happen. So I think they can handle it internally. But I look to follow this story, kind of as the season plays out. So.
What's your thoughts about Osborne opting out? They're basically their leading returning receiver.
With him opting out, I mean, it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna leave a hole. I just got to see what young kid gonna be there, to step in. So it's gonna come down to coaching. I mean, shoot, Jimbo, you got all this money, so I mean, this is you
And you can't say that you can't say they ain't recruited well.
Yeah, he can't say they ain't recruited well. I mean, he that's what he get paid for. So I think at that level, even though I'm sure he'll be missed, but I mean, at the level that these guys recruit, I mean, that's you have some capable reserves somewhere.
It's already somebody sitting there.
Yep.
Right.
Tuck, what about you, sir?
The Texas situation with that kid, I really think again, you didn't go through spring, you didn't go through summer workout. I mean, you went through summer workout, but as far as he thinks he probably is better than somebody on his team. Okay, I give him that, but at the same time, you don't out on the sideline. Okay, they're gonna handle it internally because probably this is his first time, acting out or whatever. So he'll probably take the Gus Malzahn approach and take him down to Texas, to a Longhorn stall and help him clean out some shit. And like, look, do you want to play football or do you want to do this for the rest of your life? Because these are your options if you keep with the same attitude. Now, with the A&M situation, now that's kind of like weird. Okay, you got this guy that wants to quit, will opt out within 2 weeks of the season started, and he did it on a Saturday.
Right.
The Saturday when games were started. When there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, don't get me wrong. Damon Craig is not my best friend right now. So,
I knew Damian Craig's name was gonna come up.
But could it be somebody trying to take his spot? I mean, they did take his spot, but he was the number one receiver coming back, so I doubt that. But I think him and Damian might have, clashed.
Shocking. Someone clashed with Damian Craig.
Shocker. You know what I'm saying? But I think Jimbo probably got a hold of it and said, hey, either you're going to play with us or not. To me, the kid is probably maybe at best a second, third rounder right now. He could have played his way into the first round. Like I said, I don't get it. The optics on it does not look good because if he was going to opt out, he should have opted out earlier. That's how I think it right now.
Ben, what about you, sir? What's your thoughts on either one of those situations?
I mean, the Texas situation, like we said, I think we all want to know more about it because, again, you were up 45-3. And I mean, like you said, is that, possibly what was going on, something with how they were utilizing you? Did you not like that? But that is very, very awkward that you see somebody pretty much in college. I mean, we've seen it in the NFL, but in college, you see somebody just tap out at halftime. So whatever it was, they've made peace with each other. Seems like he's back in the fold, so to speak. The Jimbo situation, the kid opting out like that, maybe, just maybe, he may have gotten some type of advice that, like Tuck said, that gave him a better draft grade, and he saw the writing on the wall and was like, you know what? Before I make this situation worse, I'm just going to go ahead and dip and just take my second or third round grade and keep moving. But I don't think it's going to affect A&M dramatically.
Because they got to kill him on.
Right.
But
hey,
we'll
man.
talk about that later.
You got Mon.
You got to kill him on.
Y'all. He's an elite talent.
Y'all are some true haters, boy. I'm telling you that much.
At the
boy. I'm telling you, boy.
position.
I just listened to the words of the quarterback whisperer, Jimbo Fisher.
You know what I'm saying? Gotta always listen to Jimbo. You know what I'm saying? Gotta listen to Jimbo, man.
Yeah, okay.
He knows his quarterbacks.
Okay, all right. Anyway, moving on, man. Let's get into some games from this past weekend. All I got to say is, have yourself a day, Sun Belt Conference.
Sun Belt.
The Sun Belt, baby. Let's go.
Belt.
Arkansas State, Louisiana, Coastal Carolina for the second year in a row.
I know Coastal Carolina was in the Sun Belt.
What's going on?
Oh boy, I think I got that right. I'm about positive I think right that the Coastal Carolina's in the Sun Belt. Somebody double check. I think it's just the second year of FBS competition. What? Either way, it was.
They're in the Sun Belt.
Yeah. That's what I thought. But man, I'm gonna tell you, I want to start with the one with the game to me that seemed to be the not so much the shocker, but the most mismatch on the field of the game, and that's the Louisiana and Iowa State game.
Yes.
Like
the ranked game.
Bruh.
Yeah, and you know that game, it could have been worse for Iowa State.
Yeah.
I think they had 2 touchdown call back.
They
had a punt return call back. They had another long pass that was called. It could have got worse. And this coming from a team in Iowa State that has a first round pick on the board from Todd McShay, their quarterback.
That's what I was about to say, because they said that on what your boy said at the end of the game that when they got through talking about that game, they was like, I don't know whether it was Dez or whichever one said it was like, you're about to see the best. He's about to prove that he's the best quarterback in the Big 12. Talking about Purdy.
He's not even his best quarterback in the game today.
I was like, shit, y'all put some on that, and then he go out there and lay that egg. Ooh.
I mean, flat egg.
16 for 35.
I have two questions. Why did you kick the Chris Smith the first time?
Ooh.
And why did you kick the Chris Smith the second time? He already burned you up the middle on a kickoff.
You can't do it twice, man.
You can't. Then he come back and you punt the ball to him?
That's the mentality. Like, he ain't gonna do it to us twice.
No, man, he ain't.
No,
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Hold my bill, Chuck. Hold my bill right there.
Oh.
Let me run this punt back.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He got 2 and really, man, I was listening to the radio today and they were talking about, Tuck Cole and them did the game. Mm-hmm. And he said they were talking to Louisiana for the game. They're like, oh, we're way more athletic than them. We're gonna get this W. Like they were that confident. Like he was like, they Iowa State, but Louisiana, like we got these athletes.
Athletes.
And I'm sitting there like, he told you that before the game, huh? Like they knew. They knew. I mean, we all know Iowa State, man. Iowa State is one of them programs that you just never know. They get players. They don't get the most athletic players all the time. They don't normally have a lot of spread and things like that. But man, just looking at the Louisiana team on tape, once again, just like I said Saturday, you better stop.
Today tastes like a Sunday ritual.
What we got going on? Oh, okay, good. We back.
ESPN playing ads. My bad.
So just like I said Saturday, man, y'all better start looking at them team names, start looking at your rosters. So, hey Dave, so what was your takeaway from everything on Saturday? I mean, from that game on Saturday?
Wow. I mean, literally. I mean, I believe that was like 11 o'clock game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm around the house, just hanging out, just casually have TV on. I'm waiting on 2:30, 3 o'clock, things like that. So I looked and I was like, wait a minute. So I mean, I didn't really watch it in depth, but the one thing I can say about conferences like a Sun Belt versus some of these other schools, bigger schools, they do recruit sneaky well. They'll take a kid that's a dog. May not have all the accolades, may not have all the stars, this, that, and the other, but they get some athletes, man. So, again, I didn't really watch that one really in depth. I caught it kind of passing through and just kind of like, let me sit down and look at this. But it doesn't, I mean, is it a shocker? Yes, because you would think Iowa State would go ahead and handle them. But, man, again, you got to look at that roster, not that jersey, Doc.
I mean, you have to. You don't have any choice. I mean, perfect example is, not really trying to dip back in high school football, but to make the point about this, there's a receiver back in my hometown, back in my home county, the guy named Nana Davis, and everybody knows he's a track star. He's a pretty good football player, but he's a track star. Guess where he's going next year? Mm-hmm. Louisiana. Right. He just announced his commitment. So it's like, they take these athletes, man, and don't sleep on Billy Napier. You know, man, Billy Napier, when he was at Alabama, they talked about how he was going to be this great coach and be this great head coach. And it seems to be, you know, coming to fruition. You know, he's like he said, he's happy with his roster and they're doing some great recruiting, man. So shout out to Louisiana, man. The Raising
Cajuns, man. I mean,
former University of Louisiana
Lafayette.
and I think one last thing about that I was going to say is I think sometimes teams, and this falls on Iowa State. Sometimes, as much as we like to say you should pay attention to the roster and all of that, we oftentimes forget that these are kids, and these kids sometimes they look at the team and they just say, "Hey, we better than them. We're gonna go out here and take care of business." And before they know it, they in a damn dogfight, and it comes out that they can't get out of their phone. And that looked like you said, that's what happened with them. Because first quarter, 0-0. Second quarter, 14-10. So it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? We up by 4, but Iowa State didn't score nothing else the rest of the game. They were shut out in the second half. So that's all you need to you were shut out. You were shut out for three quarters of the game, you were shut out.
I think, you know, I will say this about this, and then we'll move on. When you're talking about this particular game, man, I think if they looked at any tape of Louisiana, they had to look at themselves and say, "We ain't got that." Right. Hey, coach, who else you got? Because I'm not. Did you see how those C's split when Chris Smith went up the middle, and it was like, "Nah, bro, what you doing?"
He was like, he just found his little niche and went
top speed was.
I'll see y'all later. It's like I mean, Dayton boy got athletes on the field, man. And, I mean, that's part of the reason I said that statement because the athletes, bro. It's like I'm not expecting everybody to go down a roster and know it's like but look at Iowa State. Well, I think the name Iowa State used to hold some type of weight, even though it won a lot of weight. But you wouldn't think that. But nowadays, man, like David talks about, and we talk about all the time, you can't look at Group of Five and say, man, oh, they coming to Auburn or they coming to Alabama, they coming to Florida State. That's a dub. No, bro. It's too many athletes out here, and it's too many kids getting under recruited, and they just slide right in. They take the kid, and they take those kids, and they develop. But great win for Billy Napier. I don't know how long.
17. Yeah, I just want they beat about 17.
Easily.
Yeah, that's what I said. They held them scoreless for 3 quarters, man. That's saying a lot for a team that, even though I know half the conferences, a couple conferences ain't playing, but fact is they still was ranked number 20.
Right.
Let's move to Arkansas State and Kansas State. I only have one word to say about this game. Jonathan Adams Jr. That receiver for Arkansas State that made the one-hand catch in the end zone.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Made another touchdown.
3 tubs.
6'3", 215, killing them. Like, it was like a mismatch, man. Like, I know it wasn't no blowout or nothing like that, but I'm just looking like, dude, it's the theme of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's the theme of the day.
They should have gave him that touchdown just off of awesomeness. I mean, it was man. You don't see that.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. I'm looking at it again right now. Just
and Renard, Arkansas State is another school that has been recruiting well too
for a long time.
Yeah. They've been recruiting well, man. And actually, they come into Alabama and get a lot of kids too. So again, it doesn't. I mean, wow. I mean, this is crazy, but this is just kind of goes to show you. I think a lot of this is a result of, like you said, recruiting, and also a result of not having that spring, that true summer, that true fall camp, and you just kind of roll the ball out there and say, "Let's play." And this is kind of the result of that.
Yeah, and like you said, and nobody really has that, that excuse of, well, I didn't get nobody did. So it's like we're all in the same boat. Everybody all dealing with the pandemic. Everybody all dealing with Zoom and however they've held their virtual meetings and they walkthroughs, and everything is different for everybody. So, you all have to adapt and adjust. And in these 2 cases that we've seen right here with these 2 games, man, those kids, you hate to say this, but it just seemed like they just wanted it more.
And on some level, Ben, I think you're right. And just Chuck, I'll go ahead and let you make your point. But I think what we're looking at is a combination of, like y'all said, a lot of stuff. But at the same time, I also think that these kids they're gonna want it. I'm telling people now, prepare for a weird year. Because you're gonna see a lot of turnovers, you're gonna see a lot of sloppiness. Because if you look at teams now, even if let's say you would in a normal year would get better from week 1 to week 2. Or whatever. But guess what? After week 1, you go back, you have a test, you got 2 folks positive, then you got 20 brothers contact tracing. There was one school, and we'll get into it in a second, that had so many players out, and I'm like, I don't even know how y'all pulled the game off to have that. But that is not to take anything away from these teams. These teams have been competing. They have been in Arkansas State has been in Alabama for a long time. Back in the days of Gus, when Gus was out there, and then a couple other coaches that they were called the 1-year kings. Like somebody would be out there 1 year as a head coach
and
get a job,
and then get a job. So salute to Arkansas State. But go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the only reason I think they lost the game because they had 2 quarterbacks. That's the only reason why they lost. I mean, they just took with 1 quarterback.
Right.
I mean, one guy threw 2 interceptions, and I think they panicked a little bit.
Right.
But he was tossing that pill around for a minute. But like I said, Arkansas State, hey, keep it up, man. Like I think they're going to be a sleeping Sun Belt. I mean, I think don't let this score or them losing to Memphis change whatever I think they got going forward for the season, because I think they're really, really going to be tough.
Right. I'm with you. I'm with you on that, man. But the last game we're going to talk about as far as the Sun Belt, and then we're going to move on to some more Power 5, is Coastal Carolina. From my understanding, hold on, for the second year in a row?
Yeah.
Did I read that correctly, bro?
Yeah, you did.
Now, Kansas was that team I was talking about. Kansas had 40 players that did not dress. because of contact tracing and COVID. Yep. I'm telling people, man, COVID is not the reason why it's going to be a problem. Now, you might have 3 or 4 positive, but it's the contact tracing, because that means that anybody come in contact with them. So they got
to sit down too.
They got to sit down too. They got to sit down. So if you've had 3 people that got test positive, they're gonna ask you who you been around, which means they got to go every player they've been around or been in close contact with. They got to sit them down. Right. Bruh, they had 40 players. Them in Oklahoma had I think Oklahoma had like 30 something that didn't dress or something like that.
30, yeah.
But I'm talking about 40 players, bro. 40. Now, the quarterback was it Grayson McCall? I think that's his name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had three passing TDs, 2 rushing TDs. He did his thing. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying that if you Kansas, that's half your 85, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you have like 100 plus on the squad, but I'm just saying, of your scholarship, I don't know if all of them were scholarship or some of them whatever, but still, even if it's part of the 105, 110, that's a third.
Yeah.
So anybody got any other thoughts on this game besides
this game was over at halftime?
That's what I'm about to say. You took it right out of my mouth. They had 3 points at halftime.
And I mean, it came nowhere near to the level of saying, "Oh, we gonna blow these boys out." First of all, these kids are in the South. They're going to have the talent there.
Right.
Most of these 3 stars and 4 stars. I mean, most of these 3 stars and 2 stars, quote unquote 2 stars.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to go by. They might go to Coastal Carolina.
Wait a minute, Tuck. Wait a minute. Why do I hear someone singing?
That ain't me.
It must be on my TV. It's the doggone. It's the doggone national anthem of the football game.
Oh, okay. It's all good. I was just like, wait a minute. I thought
the conference of recording at home.
Hey, hey, man, I thought it was something in my background. I'm looking at all my tabs like, wait a minute. I'm like, okay, I don't think it's me. But we good. Go ahead, Tuck.
Okay. All right, so yeah, pretty much, this game was over at halftime. But like I was saying, like a lot of these kids are going to Coastal Carolina from the South, and they didn't get to go to North Carolina. They didn't get to go to Georgia. They didn't get to go to North Carolina. They didn't go to South Carolina. A lot of them did. A lot of them to get their scholarship off, so they're gonna jump to a Coastal Carolina. These boys gonna be athletic. McCall, he threw 3 touchdowns.
He sure staying tall in that pocket, don't he?
Right. You know what I'm saying? And look, he only attempted 18 passes.
That's it.
They were
and no picks
down their throat. I mean, literally running down their throat. They had what? They had all. I'm looking at the stats right now. They had two backs with over 75 yards.
Right.
And then one that did have the back, he had 2 touchdowns. They were running for 6.6, 4.0, 3.6. They're killing them.
Yeah.
It's not, bruh. I don't know. I mean, like I said, this COVID, I know it's real, but you can't afford to lose 30 players of your team, like you said, mostly through contact tracing. Just because there's nothing in Kansas. That's another problem. There's nothing in Kansas to do besides, go to the doggone.
I ain't going down that road. I ain't been had nobody from Kansas cussing me. I'm gonna let y'all in.
Talk to me, Raw Hawk, J Hawk. Y'all come talk to me. Hey man, Charles Tuck, there it is right there.
Oh, but he like to argue people.
I'll debate all day. Let's do this. But yeah, I mean, do I think it would have been it would probably have been a closer game if all 30-some players would have been sick? Yeah. Do I think it would have been another upset? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with y'all on that, man. I mean, I just looking at what happened, the 5 TDs and all that kind of stuff like that, I'm not sure that we would even gotten the same result. Maybe a little closer.
A little closer, yeah. It should have been over the halftime. That's all I'm saying.
Right. If all you can muster up is 3 points in the first half and you allowed them to score 28, you know what I'm saying? Them other 30 players may have made a difference, but I don't know if they would have made
it would have helped.
It would have helped, but I don't know if it would have made that much of a difference. Like you said, I think them guys got confidence. I think next year Les Miles will remove Coastal Carolina off of the schedule even if they are or not, because I don't think he want to see what they call the Chanticleers, whatever that mascot is.
Chanticleers.
The Chanticleers. There you go. The Chanticleers.
I know more about Coastal Carolina in basketball because they have a really good basketball team.
Right.
I remember Coach Ellis went.
And then they win the NCAA baseball championship a couple years ago?
They did. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure did. I thought they did. They won it all. So
yeah, they got some sports. The football.
So I think that's enough on the Sun Belt. But hey, congratulations on y'all day, man. Keep balling, keep doing what y'all do. But let's move on to a little bit. Let's start the number 1 team in the country in most polls in this game that I had to watch. It was on the TV. That would be Clemson 37, Wake Forest 13. And my takeaway from this game was that Trevor Lawrence looks sharp. But my biggest takeaway was the freshman that Dabo has said this is his most talented class he's ever had. And whoever a Jew, the receiver that came in looked like a linebacker size Julio Jones out there playing receiver, and Julio Jones already like a linebacker. I'm like, they talk about his athletic freakness, but him, Myles Murphy, the number 1 defensive end from last year, Brian Brees, number 1 defensive tackle ranked last year. Myles Murphy led the team in tackles, bro. He had what 2.5 sacks by himself, and I know Brees had like two tackles, but they look like grown men. When Dabo said, "Hey, Brees look like he's a junior," and man, when he came on the field, it was just like, oh, of course, anybody in the South know Myles Murphy from Georgia, especially Auburn people because of how hard we recruited him. Basically, I was ready to drop the bag for him. Yeah, that's a whole different story. I was ready to contact like, hey, we need him. Like somebody to come. But man,
give him the bag.
Y'all give me y'all impressions of Florida State. Dave, you want to start it off? I mean, Clemson.
Florida State. If I say we jumping to us that quick?
No, Clemson.
I'm saying no point in talking about
shit. Clemson actually, on the last show we did, I had a couple of questions, of what I wanted answered. I wanted to see the wide receiver core. I wanted to see how they run the ball. Man, they answered every question. They were just physically bigger
and better.
and better at every position. I mean, Wake Forest. I've seen Wake Forest in person. Actually, I think I went to the Birmingham Bowl when they played Memphis, and they just didn't have that size you would think from a Power Five school. But Clemson just looked. Once I saw Clemson that day, outside of Florida State's defensive line, they just kind of made everybody look small, man. I mean, they just they're as
Grown men.
advertised. Yeah. Now it's hard to measure truly how good they are right now based on the competition that they played first game.
Right.
But I will say they are as advertised. And I mean, hey, Trevor Lawrence is Trevor Lawrence, dog. I mean, ETN is who he is. Their D line is who they are going to be for the next 2 years.
It's gonna keep rolling.
3 years. He's just gonna keep rolling. So
Keep rolling.
man, I was thoroughly impressed. But as you know, you just gotta let that schedule play out. Hopefully we can keep it going and we'll really see when they kind of get later on in the year what they're talking about.
Your boy got into the game too, Dave.
Oh, did he?
Bowman, the running back from Florida.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he got in the game too. He got to do his thing.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Tuck? What was your thoughts, sir?
I think Clemson had two of the hardest names in the backups names I've ever seen in my life.
His name is just DJ. His name is DJ, bro. That's it.
Yeah. Because and the P one is even worse. And the P one is worse.
And then the other quarterback is named Funo Macha.
With a P. Just call him Mr. P. I don't know.
Funo Macha. I was like, Lord have mercy. That's the only controversy I see about Clemson right now. That's it. ETN did his thing. Lawrence did his thing. Shit,
Man,
I mean,
ETN ran like it was a bowling. Like his lane's like bowling.
You know, and that's one thing I did see. What he did, he's improved on running between the tackles. You know, one of his problems was, you know, the people tried to label him as a scat back, me included. You know, I think now he's starting to absorb contact, bounce off defenders now, and that's getting hit that one time, not just going down, but actually putting their hand down in the dirt and actually trying to get like 3 or 4 more yards. Right. And especially in this game, it proved out to be that he's proven to do this because now he averaged 6 yards a carry. Mm-hmm. I mean, every time he got the ball, he was falling forward. Every time he got hit, he was falling forward. That's the improvement that I was looking for in him as far as, you know, offensively doing. But and of course he's catching the ball out the backfield. He was doing that already last year, but now I think he's built up a little bit more muscle and a little bit more, you know. Hey, I'm ready to absorb some hits. So other than that, man, like I said, D line still nasty. Linebackers, they're young. I mean, this is, to me, I have to see a little bit more. But secondary, it was a little shaky at first, but I think now that after they start, you know, start playing some more games, I think they'll get better. But you know, it's all about communication. I think they got lost a couple because Kevin Steele went slap off on them a couple times. But they'll be fine. It's Clemson.
I think for me, it kind of goes back to what Tuck was saying about Etienne. The thing was, you know, he normally has those long runs, and in this one, his longest run was 29 yards. So basically, those 17 carries, he really was grinding. Those were hard yards, which is what he came back for. He wanted to be able to prove, like Tuck said, he wanted to be able to prove that, you know, he's more than just speed. You know what I'm saying? That he's able to carry the load. So if you look at what he did, man, hey, hats off to Clemson, man. They rolling. I mean, Wake didn't have Surratt. I mean, it would have been interesting to see him versus that secondary. But I'm not saying that he would have made that type of impact. It just would have been interesting to see him against that secondary. But all in all, Clemson, hats off, man. Just keep rolling. You can't be more efficient than 22 for 28. That's as efficient as it's gonna come.
And I think it was 2 or 3 drops too. So
right. So I mean, that's as efficient as you're gonna get. 88 QBR. Hey man.
Yeah. 351 yards. Wow.
Yeah.
what Tuck was talking about with ETN. Actually during the game they were talking about the difference in his freshman year, how he said how he got embarrassed against Alabama. And then after that freshman year, that's what made him really start grinding and getting back in the weight room. Right. And then, of course, that went to the year last year, and then now, of course, with the sophomore year and the junior year, and of course, now he's back for his senior year. The secondary, like you were saying, though, I mean, they got some 5-star talent back there. Andrew Booth, who was a highly rated recruit out of Georgia. He's a 5-star recruit, but I think, like you said, so they're gonna need it. They're just gonna need some more experience. Now, the receivers. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know there's some talent there. EJ showed up out of Phoenix City. That Frank Lasson Jr. is supposed to be really good, but I just got to see who's gonna become the man. And I guess that's the thing about it. We'll have to see as time moves on.
Yeah, I mean, Armani Rogers probably is gonna, but like you said, we got to see when they actually are in a situation where they're gonna need the guy to come up big, and who's gonna take that lead. So we knew in the past who it was gonna be. So
well, that's it for them Clemson Tigers. So let's just move on down a little bit in the ACC. Let's move down to Notre Dame versus Duke, which was number one, a very, very, very surprisingly good game. And also got to give Chase Bryce a lot of credit. And don't look at the score of the game, but if you actually watch a lot of that game, Duke shot themselves foot a couple times. They moved the ball. They didn't have issues moving the ball. They just kind of shot themselves. Not saying they would have won the game, but if you just look at the score, you'd be like, oh, Notre Dame pulled away 27-13. But the Kylan Williams guy for Notre Dame, the running back, he clowned a little bit. I think that looks good on him. I don't know how you felt about the defense and everything. So Tuck, let me get your thoughts on the defense first. Notre Dame is your what I call 2A school.
Yeah, yeah. I think defensively they're strong. They are kind of strong. But like you said, it was two plays that Duke should have capitalized on, and a couple more plays they should capitalize on, but they didn't.
Right.
I think Bryce was a little bit too much. He was a statue. He wasn't too. If he would have rolled a little bit more, got a little bit more comfortable as the game progressed. I mean, he did get a little bit, but I think if they would have did a little bit more of him roll that pocket, they would have found some stuff. But defensively, I think Notre Dame will get better as the year goes. I mean, as the year goes on. But like you said, don't look at this score and think that hey, Notre Dame is on top. No. Notre Dame defensively, offensively, is still a struggle. Ian Book did not show me nothing.
Woo, boy.
Running backs, terrible. Offensive line, right side of the offensive line, terrible. Wide receivers, they can't catch a cold. I mean, look, it's not that good. I'm just saying, Duke didn't have anything defensively that could, I ain't gonna say play up to par with Notre Dame, but Notre Dame is not, right now offensively like they were when they had DeShone Kizer there. Right. I think that was the last great offense they had. You had no problems, and Kizer wasn't a shining star himself. Right. So it can get better. Brian Kelly's going to have to do some soul searching. I'm just being honest. He's going to have to do some soul searching because I really don't think he's letting what's his offensive coordinator name? He's pulling a Gus, basically. I think he's still involved a lot in the play calling. Right. You can tell. You're going to have to let this kid open up his imagination and let the boy run wild. But, hey, a win's a win. They got to wait for it next week. That's a win. We're not going to see the real Notre Dame till, I think it's the third week. Louisville. Then we can see if they're going to be, are they going to be up to that stature? I don't see it right now.
Hey, Tuck, I got a question for you. Tuck, before I pass it off.
Go ahead.
What's your thoughts on the Brian Kelly contract extension?
That was the dumbest thing.
hey, look, no, it happened right before the game. Like right when the game started, it was scrolling across the bottom line. Like the results at the game was still going on. Like Brian Kelly signed an extension. I'm like, oh, I know Tuck finna be living.
I was like, I turned it on. And I'm not gonna say this source, but this source copied the link and put it in before the game start, and he said, "You got to be shitting me." So I'm not gonna.
We will not reveal the source at all.
But
journalistic integrity.
Yeah, my integrity. You gotta be shitting me. I felt the same exact way. But hey,
we talked about it last week.
You got NBC money; they can pay him out. I mean, that's another thing. You got NBC money; you can pay him out if that's the case. But I mean, maybe that make you feel warm and tingly inside during this COVID season. But I don't know.
I think the funny part about it, Tuck, is we talked about it last week. We talked about how Kelly has like 9 lives. Like we literally talked about this last week and was like, man, you know, he know how to keep his job, and sure as the damn sun will shine, he got the extension right before kickoff. He got the extension.
Hey, Tuck,
Catholic do it? Yeah.
Tuck, I'm asking you because I know you more than. Didn't the athletic director also like sign a game while the game was going on?
Yes.
For 2 weeks later, they
yes.
changed like their opponent from 2 weeks ago. From 2 weeks later now.
Right. Allegedly, the contract had been extended to Brian Kelly 2 weeks ago. The athletic director did not want to do it. He did not want to extend him because what have you done to get an extension?
I mean, he made the playoffs. But I know they got blasted.
Hold on.
Right,
Only with that, I'm saying, you talking about that. I was talking about the fact that I heard that they changed a game like right before the kickoff for 2 weeks later. Like there was a team. Check to see. It said something about like there's something they're flipping the schedule around, kind of how like they did with the Houston and Baylor game this weekend. That wasn't gonna happen 2 weeks ago, and they put that one on the schedule. Apparently, they're putting some type of I don't know. Just double check it and find out. You can let me know.
But all I know is the athletic director did not want to sign that contract. He did not want it. That was all the school president. And again, this is why school presidents should not get involved with some athletic stuff. I'm just gonna leave it at that because that's one reason why. Okay, we're jumping all over the place, but Notre Dame is Big Ten country. Them playing in the ACC does not make any sense. But Big Ten, when you see most of these Big Ten school presidents, they got doctorate in front of their names. They're gonna go with the science of everything. That's gonna be the main problem. That's the main reason why. That's the main reason why they're not playing right now.
Right.
Okay. So. We'll talk about that later, but a lot of stuff. That's the reason why we were supposed to have a vote today, right? Did y'all see that shit happen?
Yeah, that's supposed to be that did not happen, and supposed to be what tomorrow or some crap or whatever.
Nobody talking about it, right? Nobody talking about that. We were supposed to get advice. I don't think that's gonna happen. These doctors and these universities will make up their mind. But let's stay on Notre Dame because.
Okay, let's move.
Anybody else got anything on the Notre Dame game? Because I agree with almost everything Tuck said about Ian Book. Like I said, the Kylan Williams guy, he did pretty good. But, hey, woo.
I told y'all in that preseason show, in the ACC preseason, y'all, I mean, some people was like, Ian Book is up.
I mean, like you said, Book didn't have.
It was against Duke. And
it was Duke. And like I said, you got to give Duke. And like you said, I think Renard, and we can get off of it. I think Renard made the valid point that if you look at the score, you would assume this game was not the way that it was, but it actually was a close game going into the fourth quarter.
Yes.
And then it just kind of was just like, man, they Duke just couldn't hang at that point. But overall, man, number 10 team in the nation, man. Notre Dame, man. They got the win, man.
But Kyron Williams did look good.
Yes, he did.
Kyron Williams looked good.
Let's move on to North Carolina and Syracuse. This game started off a little bit rough for North Carolina. Not like how people thought it was going to be because people wasn't expecting a lot out of Syracuse. Right. But it was a little bit rough for them boys at first, and then they kind of turned it on. Sam kind of tuned up and did his thing. That Javonte Williams kid, that's the kid when everybody keeps talking about might be the breakout. He didn't have a lot of yards. He had 3 touchdowns, and And like Mac Brown said, we played like we right. I can't remember exactly what he said, but we played basically like crap in the first half, and it took us a minute to actually get into the game and do what needed to be done. So I think it really didn't change my mind anything about North Carolina. It didn't make me feel like better, make me feel worse. I just kind of felt like they played down to the competition a little bit. But I think they got a good solid team on their hands. I do think that. So anybody got anything on this North Carolina game they want to add to it?
I just want to say I applaud what's the coach? I keep forgetting his name.
Black Underwood Jr.
Black Underwood, yeah.
No, I mean Dino Babers.
Dino, thank you. I want to applaud him because his defense
look good.
Always
great. Yeah,
they keep that.
If you can find an offense somewhere above the Mason-Dixon line, then you might be all right. But
DeVito ain't it. They stuck in that. They stuck in that cycle with DeVito. Right. He been there for forever, and they stuck with him.
Yeah, but like I said, I agree. I mean, I just want to say that I like their defense. I like how aggressive they were on defense. I just wish they would do that as the whole team. This game was very sleepy, by the way. It was just like, whoa. It was just like, oh, gosh, come on. And I think Sam Howell and them felt the same kind of way. I'm like, okay, do I really want to throw the touchdown pass right now? You know, it's just like simple shit like that. But like I said, I think the only thing I did was eye-opening was Dino's them defense. They were tough.
Right. What and I think a lot of things, man, that we're not really, I ain't gonna say not taking into consideration, but you know, these kids have always played in front of crowds their whole life.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, they're used to being practice, you know, and you're practicing, but to actually have to play in front of a crowd, no crowd, you know, and you're supposed to be the same intensity as a game day. A lot of times you rely on that crowd to get you, I mean, not so much you're not focused, but to get you where you need to be. Dave, do you have any thoughts on this North Carolina Syracuse game, sir?
I'm just kind of looking at the scoring summary right now. I didn't realize that North Carolina scored because I didn't get a chance to really tune in. I kind of flipped again. Like I said, I was overwhelmed. I clearly don't have enough TVs in this house. And let me digress for a second. I should have went ahead and bought those TVs during the pandemic when it was at this height, but I didn't do it because I was like, it was dirt cheap. Couldn't hardly find one, you know, and I was like, man, I wonder if we're going to even play some football. I said, I'll just wait. And lo and behold, it's football season. But anyway, 21 points. I'm looking at the score summary. 21 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, you're talking about a 10-6 game at the end of the fourth quarter, at the end of the third quarter. I'm like, that kind of speaks volumes. Sounds like to me, you know, it was a situation where North Carolina may have just wore on Syracuse.
Yep.
You know, just kind of wore them down. But I don't know. That's a red flag for me if I'm picking North Carolina to win anything.
I'll just say this. I mean, I'll say something positive. I know I'm always, you know, negative about Sam because he dipped. But I will say this. The one thing about Sam Howell is he doesn't get affected. And that's what you want in your quarterback. You want your quarterback to be able to throw picks or things not go his way and be slow or whatever. And he's able to just continue on the path, do what he needs to do, handle business. Did they look good for 3 quarters? No. But it didn't matter. They got in the fourth quarter. Sam wasn't affected by his 2 picks, and they kept it pushing. And I think that's going to be, and that was the thing with North Carolina last year. They won or lost a lot of games in the fourth quarter. So meaning they hung around Syracuse is not that good, but they kept games within contention to whether they could either win or lose them in the fourth quarter. And this just showed true then. Like you said, it was 10-6 going to the fourth quarter, and then they turned up and scored 21 points. So, you know, it is some red flags, but I think North Carolina fans, trust me, they happy with the dub.
That's pretty much it. I mean, I think, you know, the average fan has got to understand where we are in this environment of football. It's going to be some sloppiness. There's going to be some mistakes. We just got to move on from it. But speaking of moving on to another game, let's go to MIA. Miami and UAB, of course. This was the first game of the weekend. Mm-hmm. UAB gave a really good fight, like I figured they would. When I was looking at it, of course, Miami had some key starters out. It was not a very smooth game for Miami, to say the least. And the debut of Mr. King, my player of the year or surprise player of the year, whatever you want to call it. I think it showed a lot of not having spring practice and not having all those things that you normally do. But I really think Miami is going to benefit a lot by playing a team of the caliber of UAB. Moving on down the line. Now, did they do anything to make me feel more confident in them? No, nothing at all. So, what's y'all thoughts taken away from the Miami UAB game from Thursday night?
I will say this: they surprised me with their running game. That surprised me. Not De'Aaron King, but their other stable of backs, the freshman Rooster. I mean, most of us in Florida circles, we all know Rooster because we all know the whole story behind Rooster. But Rooster looked damn good, even though it was 59 yards. He looked every bit the part. And Cameron Harris definitely ran hard for them. So, say whatever you want to say about De'Aaron King. We all know, he is what he is, throwing the ball. But if that running game that they have can continue to complement them, Miami's going to be in a lot more games than they were in the past. Definitely so. And we already know about the tight end. We already know about Brevin Jordan. There ain't really nothing to even say about him. He's a grown-ass man.
And someone correct me if I'm right. Didn't De'Aaron King overthrow some people? Several people. I don't know if he also said this is his quote. It's his first game without his dad. He said his dad has been at every game his whole life growing up, and his dad died in February. So he said that had a big effect on him. He was talking about that after the game, trying to get over that. And so, it's first game jitters. I don't know how they're gonna do. I'm looking to see some improvement in week 2 from a lot of these teams. So we'll see how they go.
You're going to find out a lot about them this week because they got Louisville, and Louisville is everybody's sneaky team that's going to show vast improvement from year 1 to year 2 under the new coach. So you're going to find out a lot.
And we'll have
Miami in this game.
And we'll have that prediction Wednesday when we record the show for this upcoming weekend. So anybody else got anything on this Miami UAB game?
I just want some of the Miami fans to understand that, you're going to have to be a little patient with Rhett in the offense. The offense is kind of especially the running game. It's a little complicated on how they do stuff. I wasn't surprised. Ben said he was surprised about the run game. I mean, that's one thing I'm not too worried about the Miami running game and with Rhett Lashlee. But as far as, like I said, the passing, you're going to have to be efficient because when you run, you're going to have to. That pass is going to have to be there because they're not going to expect it after you're running the ball down their throats. They had 337 yards rushing, and King had 144 yards passing. I mean, he could have had on the board at least 3 touchdowns as far as passing, but one was in the end zone. He just overshot him, and then they did they came back and did a speed option, and then he ran the ball in. Same thing, another pass. He was wide open, but he overthrew him, and then came back, and then Harris ran the ball in on another option play. The run game is going to be there, and that's no question. It's just the mix and the match of the mixing of the passing and the running when it comes to a Rhett Lashlee run offense. And you're going to have to figure it. They're going to have to get that balance more than in the ACC. I don't think you can run like you did at Auburn 50 times a game and run only past 16. You're going
no.
When he was at 52 total carries combined.
And that was, but when he was at SMU, he adopted some more air raid principles. So we'll see how he's gonna go with that. Dave, what you got on it?
Basically, my thoughts are really on UAB, man.
Right.
Again, Spencer Brown with another solid performance.
Yes, sir.
I mean, he looks like he's ready to take an NFL leap. I'm not a big fan of UAB's quarterback. I'm really
Me
not.
either.
I'm not sold on him.
They talked about that a lot during the broadcast.
Whispers are it's a walk-on quarterback that he may not see him this year, but he is probably going to be the signal caller of the future. Those are just whispers, but I'm not sold on him. Now
He
I am
hasn't
sold on
told
him.
me at all.
Yeah, I am. So I do like their wide receivers. Wide receivers are really good, but I think that Bill Clark has done a fantastic job there. And that, I mean, as far as I mean, yeah, they run the football, and when they're running the ball for over 300 yards with the quarterback able to do what he's capable of doing, they could be dangerous as well. So, I don't know, man. I thought it was a good matchup. The score kind of makes it look like it was a little farther fit than what it was, but it really was a solid game.
I'm with you on that, man. Before I get into these last couple of games, I do want to say about this game we're about to talk about. This Texas Tech Houston Baptist game. And I know that Houston Baptist did not win the game.
Weren't we on the phone? Didn't I ask you, like, who in the hell is Houston Baptist?
You did.
That was one of those hits, like you said, Houston Baptist and Campbell. We were both like, who the hell?
They went and got some. They went and got some ushers. They went and got some choir members.
Like, who are they?
First of all, Bailey Zapp, the bruh threw for 567 yards.
Yeah, he legit. He is legit.
I think they are FCS school, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But, bruh, I don't care that Texas Tech won the game. I really don't. 567 yards. Now, Houston Baptist didn't do themselves no favors because I think old boy Allen Bowman, is it Bowman?
Bowman, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he throw for like 460 himself?
430. 430. He went for 430 with. Now he had him in the tub, but he went for 430.
Man, who, bruh? I don't even want to say much about this. All I need to let y'all know is that a quarterback from Houston Baptist threw for almost 600 yards on Texas Tech. That's all you need to know about this game.
Yeah, you would have thought that the Pirate was still the coach down there. He don't believe in defense. So yeah.
And then deeper, no, he not only did he throw for 567, he had 4 touchdowns and no picks.
None.
No picks. So he threw the ball 49 times.
Wow.
And didn't throw no interceptions. It had 567 yards. Like, yeah, they lost the game, but in my book, if you walk away from that, you Houston Baptist, man, that's a moral victory in my book.
Bro, that's more than a moral victory. I don't even know what to say about that. That's just like, yep.
Yep.
We went down there, put 600 yards on them folks. That's about Russia.
They got a lot of tape. That Zap dude, he got a lot of tape from that game, and he gonna be able to be like, "You seen that throw?"
And I refuse to give that game any more time on this podcast. Moving on, a game that I was very interested in was the Louisville against Western Kentucky. Number one, I was interested in both quarterbacks. Of course, number one, Malik, Mikhail, whatever your name want to go for Louisville, Davis homeboy. And of course, Ty from Clay Chalkville is the quarterback at Western Kentucky. He did a pretty decent job. He's still struggling throwing at sea. His accuracy still don't seem to. He can still run, but that accuracy is just still kind of what it is. Malik had a couple of good passes, but he had a couple and he just it was one he threw up and old boy caught and ran it for a touchdown. Like, look, bro, you can't be doing that now. We got to bring that on back. But the most part, he did his thing, man. I was really happy about the game, and I think, like you said, Louisville's a sleeping giant, not a giant, but they're that team that it's like they can really if we was getting full crowds in, and you had to play Louisville at night. Yeah. In that stadium and them jumping around, like they could get almost anybody in that conference and get them up for that game. So I will let the Louisville expert speak on that game. That'll be Mr. Gardner.
As I look at this, Mr. Cunningham has a QBR 91.1. 19 for 34, 343 yards, 3 tubs, 10.1 yard average. He had 1 pick, and he also ran 1. I mean, guys, this is just tip of the iceberg. What you're seeing from him. I mean, they just have some explosive players, man. I mean, shoot, Atwell wasn't even the lead. He didn't have the most yards. They had 2 receivers.
Not at all.
110 yards. I mean, my God. I mean, you come in game plan it for Tutu, and then look at what you get. So, man, I just want to see more. I think this team is going to gel as the season go on. They'll only get better. I did see a couple of mishaps, but who didn't have them this week? So,
Right.
I mean, I'm just like I said, man. Just sit back and wait. Don't be surprised at the end of the year if this kid is not on somebody's Heisman ballot. Talking about Mr. Cunningham.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Anybody else got anything about the game they want to add right now?
Pretty much all that what Dave said. I'm done.
Okay, all I can say is just watch out for him, man. Because when you in these times you got a quarterback, you're ahead of the game. You got some receivers, you got quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like you ahead of the game a little bit. Still need all the essential pieces, but hey, that's good for them. So we talked about Texas Tech. We talked about Louisville. So there's only one game left we need to talk about, brother.
I mean, we need to wrap up, man. We ain't got to talk about it.
No, we got to wrap up.
We need to wrap up. We ain't got to talk about it.
No,
I think everybody in America saw what happened because it was on for like 10 hours because of the damn weather delays.
I think everybody is waiting to hear about this Georgia Tech 16, FSU 13 game. I will say a little bit first because I feel like once some people get started, this dude got his Red Month vodka. Y'all want to be a sponsor?
They probably gonna talk about it more than I will.
Hey, what Shannon say? Hey, hit me up, man. Hit me up.
Me.
Red Month vodka, if you're listening or watching,
I don't care who it is. Who y'all is? Holler at us. And a lot of holler at us, man. We taking all sponsorships if you want to come to us. Matter of fact, we'll come down to the distillery and come down there and do a show. So hey, whatever y'all want to do. Hey, but anyway, so this was a very, very weird game. All BS, no fandom involved in this at all. 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. O-line issues still. 3 block kicks. Now, Ben, correct me if I'm wrong. Jeff Sims was a former commit, right?
Lock.
Yeah.
And was in so many words, the discussion was, you don't really fit what I'm trying to do, so it may be best that you look elsewhere. So
you got Jeff Sims playing quarterback for the opposing team with Georgia Tech, and Jeff Sims looked pretty good for a true freshman. I can't hate on him for that. But this game was just very, very weird. So I need whoever wants to go first to give me some commentary about this game.
Dave, I'll let you go on and go. Okay.
Well, you know what? I'm not even gonna do solo layout because y'all gonna go back and forth.
I'll just say this. I'm not even gonna be long. And
it's your time. That's why I put it at the end.
And whatever side of the fence you want to sit on, if you want to blame the line, you want to say the defense let true freshman do whatever he wanted to do. If you even want to say the coaching game plan wasn't where it needs to be. I'm just going to give you one set of numbers and you can take from it whatever it is that you want to take from it. 7 for 9 from your quarterback, first 2 drives, 10 points. 16 for 34, the remainder of the game, that's 48%. A pick, 2 fumbles. Did he have a clean pocket the whole time? Did he have wide receiver drops? Yeah, he did. But ultimately, your defense that was much maligned last year got you 4 turnovers. They got you 2 block kicks. They got you 2 interceptions. And they blocked an extra point. And I will say this, and any Florida State fan, beat writer, whatever can say, if you've seen one James Blackman game, you've seen them all. You all know what happens once he faces any type of adversity. You already know what's going to come next. It's going to be 1 turnover. It's going to be 2 to 3. We done seen it go from 1 to 6. 6 is his most. But somewhere in that time frame, he's going to go from 1 turnover and it's going to fall between 1 and 6. You've seen it. Soon as he made the first turnover, Mike Norvell had to have a come to Jesus meeting. Come on, man. So at the end of the day, the defense did enough to sustain what needed to be sustained. Was the running game great? No, it wasn't. It was average. But at the same time, a lot of people are going to blame that offensive line. That line wasn't, they were decent enough when they all were in there. Now, throughout points of the game, each one of them went out beside Babion. He was the only one that played the entire game. But everybody went out throughout the game and they came back. But ultimately, you know, you seen one, you seen them all. And I think most Florida State fans are upset because of how they lost. Not even so much as if we would have got slaughtered. It was, you seen us get the lead, you seen us blow the lead. And that's been a reoccurring thing for the last 2-3 seasons.
Go ahead, Dave, because I definitely got some thoughts, but go ahead.
What did I say last show?
For one, you said I was a hater, but go ahead.
I say that every show. But
Oh boy, I'm so done. Go ahead.
me and you said that the faces have changed on the opposite line.
Oh yeah.
My rebuttal to that was, you don't have to pay me $1 million to change the faces on that line. You give me $500, I can go down there and change the faces. Look, let me tell you something. Until we get some guys in here that want to play on the opposite line. Now, don't get me wrong, Blackman is not. I've seen worse than Blackman. You know, at maybe not at Florida State, but other schools. But you gotta be able to run the ball, and you gotta be able to block. I saw too much east-west running. I saw too much trying to get the edge. That was another thing that I kind of fought at Taggart for in his system. It was too much left to right. You know what I mean? You got to be able to run between the tackles. Now, on the positive, man, I'm okay with the defense. I mean, as many 3-and-outs and turnovers that we had, and that's all you gave up. You block, and then the special teams. Oh my God, you block you block field goals, extra points. Asante, I think he had 2 picks. So it's tough right now, man, and it's gonna only get tougher. Unfortunately, I mean, because now you may deal with morale issues. You know, you may deal with internal conflicts. The defense is now kind of riding high, and now you're looking at the offense, can't give you no help. Now, did the rain delays play a part? Of course. The weather delays, I should say, because they came our first drive, on fire. But we ain't got to get somebody to block, man. I'm sorry. I mean, any recruits out there, if I'm a 5-star recruit, 4-star, 3-star, I'm trying to get Tallahassee because I just feel like I can play early.
You can.
Early.
Especially at tackle. It's
bad, man. I would like to see some more running between the tackles, kind of take that pressure off of Blackman. You know, if you get a run game going, now you open up your play action. We know he throws a beautiful deep ball. Terry dropping damn balls down the sideline, wide open. I mean, that touchdown alone win you the game. You know, you at least get out of there. But we got issues, Doc. I'm gonna smoke a black on that one.
Not a black.
Tuck, you got anything before I go, sir?
All I'm going to say is, I think I know. I think Renard wanted to pull the trigger last week on Georgia Tech, but he was like, it's in Tallahassee.
We're gonna wait for Tuck to come back here.
Uh-oh.
What happened to me? Damn, I came back. Okay, there we go.
There you
go.
There.
Well, we hear you. We ain't moving, but we hear you.
Yeah, Nighthawk down.
So-
Nighthawk down. Nighthawk down.
Nighthawk. Because he was going to say something wrong. That's what it was. He was going to say something bad.
Right. Like I said, I think Renard wanted in his heart wanted to pick Georgia Tech to win this ball game. But however, he decided, you know what? It's a home game, so I'm just going to. I asked you what the point spread was. Y'all told me 12. And I said,
I knew that was bad.
You know what? 6 points is, I said 6 points is a home team. So give me Georgia Tech. Because I just don't think that I thought they could probably score more points than what they did. I really did, but I thought that Georgia Tech's quarterback had a little chip on his shoulder. He did. But as far as offensively, like y'all said, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. Y'all are right. I mean, offensively, they're running north and south. I mean, they're running east and west, no north and south, no in between the tackles. Blackman is not a threat to run. I'm sorry, he's not. Look, they're going to key off on just the give. They're gonna. I mean, don't
just stop it. Just stop doing that because everybody knows.
Let me tell you, Webb. I thought Webb was gonna get more touches. The way they were talking during the preseason, I thought Webb was gonna get more touches. I didn't see enough of him. I didn't see those screens that they were thrown to. It was a lot of stuff that I didn't see that I thought I was going to see. But I just thought, from my homeboy Goody, shout out Doug Goodwin, he told me, he said, hey, Georgia Tech defense is going to be pretty good. Their offense is still coming along, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's a parameter of Georgia Tech playing lights out. I just think it's Florida State just, like I said, that weather delay, I really think that really, really hurt them. But again, we going off on Florida State on their first drive. They practiced, those first plays were scripted.
Yeah, the scripted part looked great.
It's like a movie. It's like a movie script. If you know your parts, it's gonna be fine. But you forget a line. Oh shit! What am I gonna do now? I think that was most of the problem with Florida State. They finally when they got hit in the mouth, when they had a tackle for loss, they didn't know how to respond. So
and let me say this.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Renard, before you go, because this actually something I want to say. I want to give Georgia Tech's defense the credit that they deserve, and I'm gonna say that to say this. Collins, at some point in that game, probably was at halftime, he made the key adjustment to where he pretty much was like, you know what? Blackman is not going to beat us with his arm. And what we're going to do is shrink it. We're going to make sure we focus on the run game. We're going to keep a safety, not necessarily double tiered, but we're going to keep somebody over there watching him and pretty much force him to throw to anybody else. And as the game went on, because again, there's enough tape on James Blackman. There's enough tape. And Collins, by him being the defensive genius that he is, he had plenty of tape to go back and look at, regardless of what offense it was. And he was able to mastermind a game plan that was like, you know what? I tell you what I'm finna do. And it worked. And it worked. I mean, it worked to perfection in that second half. I mean, so I have to give, I'm not going to put this all on Florida State lost the game. And no, I'm not going to do that because at the end of the day, Collins masterminded a great defensive game plan and he adjusted in that second half.
Okay. I heard everyone. Like I said, I'm gonna go back again. Let me see here. 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Not 1, not 2, but 3 block kicks. So here's my thing about when we talking about when we're talking about this actual Florida State team. So, I listen to a lot of different people. I try to get a thing about it. And my thing was like the thing that I heard today from most people was that they said, okay, Blackman's an average quarterback. But like we said before earlier, I have a hard time coming down on Florida State right now because Florida State could have used the same type of games that the Big 12 is using. And that's my biggest thing. Collins has like we've been saying, they have a program that's coming up. But you can't have those issues, and then you still can't have those offensive line. Offensive lineman said it today. Guy that knows offensive line, he said they just are absolutely horrible. He was like, they got to get better. I don't give a damn who back there. I don't give a damn if Cam Newton back there. I don't give a damn who back there. Until they solve one of those issues up front, it's going to be a continued issue. Now, my only thing is that when I look at a game, and when I look at it from this standpoint now, I look at the fact that it's new coaching staff, brand new system, no spring practice, COVID, and even though you're returning a quarterback, you're not returning to the same system. You're not returning to the same checks. You're not returning to the same audibles. You're not returning to the same plays. And you just have a lot to go on. I'm not saying they should get a throwaway game, but I think that we're going to see some sloppy football. I think we've already kind of figured that out. We're going to see some sloppy football, and we're going to see some things, and it's going to be about who can overcome it. Do I think it's as doom and gloom as I've been hearing Florida State fans say? No. I'm very interested to see how they are week 2, week 3. And it might be one of the things by the end of the year, they might have found their groove, find what they got, put everybody in the right place, get your signals right, get everything going with the offensive line. I'm just not a proponent of giving up on them after the first game. Because I'm just taking it back old school, but Tucker remember for how many years did we hear people say, Jason Campbell, get the hell out of Auburn? We heard freshman.
4 years, so 3 out of 4.
Yeah, freshman, sophomore, junior was like, he too dumb to play. He ain't going to be this. He ain't going to be that. And even that first game of that 04 season.
That was going to be my question for y'all, but I was going to ask it off the air was about an Auburn quarterback in this scenario. We'll talk about that later.
That first game in
it was
the 04 season.
It was like,
hey, what you doing, boy?
Right, like, man, what's really going on? And as that season going on, and as things help, different offensive coordinators can bring different things. I mean, I know that y'all want some type of success. And even if it's Blackman, even if it's Slim or whoever it is, I just look at like, okay, this first game, let's see where we go from here. Does he have to be a world beater? No. Can he win you some games? Possibly yes. Because who behind it?
I think Renard, to your point, I don't think it's so much as people are fed up with him possibly being. Ain't no possibility he's inaccurate. But that's not what drives people nuts. You can live with that. I think what drives people nuts with James Blackman is you're not that accurate and you consistently turn the ball over.
Of course.
I think that's because in his last, if you go back to the bowl game and to this game, the kid has 8 turnovers. And no matter what system you in, I don't care who the coach is, he consistently turns the ball over. And I think that more so drives people nuts than regardless of whatever his completion to incompletion rate is. It's the fact that he consistently turns the ball over. And everything that you're saying is true, but you can't not be quote unquote inaccurate and a turnover machine. And it's like those fumbles are just like, and that pick was just, it was 3rd and 15.
But man, at the same time, though, brother, those fumbles, they were not because of him. He was getting blindsided. He was getting pressure in his face.
The second one was. The first one wasn't. The second one was. The first one was.
When he got knocked down on the back.
That was the second. Yeah, that was the second. That one wasn't his. But that first one was him scrambling and
Okay, but he's trying to make a play, right? You're trying to make a play.
But you got to hold on to the ball, Tug.
Okay.
Hey, Tuck.
See, you want.
He froze.
Do you want Travis? I don't know what's going on, but anyway, do you want Travis over Blackman?
You know what? The thing is, it's not necessarily about Jordan Travis being over Blackman, as more so as it is, can Jordan Travis or even Tate Rodemaker accept coaching and handle ball security? Because again, Blackman may be the best quarterback option that we have on the roster right now. He may be, but clearly 3 coaches have tried to get through turning the ball over to him, and it ain't nothing changed with that.
Well, I can't. But see, this is the part of that I can't just vibe with. This is where I have an issue with that. And I'm not saying we can save James Blackman to be anything more than a serviceable quarterback. But when we're talking about someone who's on his 3rd offensive coordinator, this is 3rd one, right?
4th one, really.
Fourth one, so he basically had a different offensive coordinator every year. Yeah. All I'm saying is that I'm just not 100% sure where we are with him going forward. And, when I'm sitting there listening to people in the commentators was even saying, like, the first half, and maybe that was before the weather delay, they were like, he looks more confident, he's making better decisions.
Right.
He's doing this, he's doing that. So it's like, maybe it was something that was an adjustment on the other side. Now, do I think Blackman's going to be the world beater? But do I think he can get him through? Do I think he can get Norvell through this first year? Possibly. But I don't know. But I like I said, the biggest issue about when we talk about stuff like this is that we don't know what was missed. We don't know what one thing might have went wrong on several plays. The biggest thing is that we always just see the quarterback and when he knew the mistake that he made. We don't see the miscommunication with the line. We don't see the running back going the wrong way. We don't see the wide receiver that didn't get the actual communication. There's a lot of things that go along in the game, but I feel y'all pain. I understand what you're saying. Like, hey, this cat stripe's been this way for been this way for 3 years. But I'm not ready to give up on him this year yet because of the fact of Norvell really them haven't had a chance to really put a for real influence on him. And maybe that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna give it a couple games. I'm not saying you got to stay with him. Right. I just want to see, it might be one of the things where y'all go into like game 4 through 10. It might be like y'all might look like world beaters because you see that sometimes. So I don't know.
I think right now Norvell was dealt a bad hand because Chuba got hurt in the scrimmage. Because ultimately, Chuba was a quarterback that him and Kenny sought out, recruited. Once they told Sims whatever the conversation was, they went to Chuba. Everybody knows who Chuba Purdy is. He's Brock Purdy's little brother. And they flipped him. He was a Louisville committed to Louisville. They flipped him, brought him to Florida State. And Norvell has this thing where he wants freshman quarterbacks to go live in scrimmages. And in the first scrimmage, Chuba broke his collarbone. So right now, Chuba Purdy is out 6 to 8 weeks. And I think that when you look at it from that aspect, you're right. There isn't anybody, quote unquote, on the roster to turn to at this point. I mean, we don't know if Jordan Travis can throw or not because whenever they put him in, nobody lets him throw. And when he does throw, it's a quick pass and it ends up being in the dirt. So right. We don't know if he can. We don't know if they've actually built the game plan for him to throw. Nobody really knows. You know what I'm saying? So again, the answer may not be Jordan Travis or Tate Rodemaker. It might not be him. Either one.
Well, no, go ahead, Dave. I know you ready.
No, I have absolutely nothing. I'm over here chilling.
I guess my biggest thing we can
wrap it up. Yeah.
Another takeaway we can wrap it up. It's like the most popular person in the world is the backup quarterback on any football team. Amen. And I know he has a talent, and I know he's like that, but it's like you just see that, and I think I feel sorry for Slim. I really do because I've watched several different quarterback careers go through down the drain because they didn't have the right offensive coordinator to deal with them. And then you'd be like, dude, how he doing? How he make it to the league? Or how he doing this? How he doing that? And giving the right system, right coaching, it never worked. It never look at Blake Sims. Blake Sims was not a great quarterback.
Right.
And if it wasn't for Lane Kiffin, Blake Sims would have never been a quarterback.
Correct.
Go deeper.
What?
Jalen Hurts. A lot of people thought that, when he was at Bama, he couldn't, whatever their opinion was, but then he goes to Oklahoma, a la Lincoln Riley, and I mean, he looks like almost like a completely different quarterback once he got with somebody different.
I think with Lincoln Riley, though, I think Jalen had a lot of self-determination. He was already getting ready to prove himself. Right. I think Lincoln helped him along the way, but I think Jalen was just also a little bit pissed off and sick of the shit about. I mean, I hate to say that, just sick of the shit.
No, it's true. It's true.
But Lincoln definitely could have helped. But to wrap all of it up, I just want y'all to continue hope, because I might be in the same boat 2 weeks from now, cussing somebody's ass out because this first game
quarterback.
If you let national people tell it, Bo Nix is the most overrated quarterback this side of the Mississippi.
I take him in a heartbeat.
You will hear all these podcasts I listen to that's not really Alabama, Auburn Central, when they talk about national stuff, they're like, "Oh, he having a Bo Nix game. Oh, he's 4 for 30 with 43 yards." I'm just telling you what the talk is. And it's like, it's even divided among Auburn fans. You got some Auburn fans who's like, man, I can't wait for his maturity this year to come up. And people talking about how much bigger he looked, how much more mature he looked. Last year, it was just like, okay, he has more overall talent. So we're going to go ahead and put him in. Joy Gatewood, I love Gatewood. I love everything about him because he was the phenom in everybody's eye. But when you can't throw a goddamn swing pass, I knew he going through. When you can't throw a swing pass consistently, you're not going to start for a team unless your athletic ability is just overwhelming. And, Bo already has a mind of a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was already trained that way. Now, a lot of stuff he did was on him, which we'll get into that next week when we do a little SEC preview. But all I can just say, I'm just going to do this and keep hope alive and just hope that, week 1 and week 2 get better.
I got one more point. It ain't about Florida State. Shout out to the Minor Tigers, man. They balled hard against Pinson, and a lot of people from this state understand and know what Pinson is and who they have on their squad. Them Minor Tigers held their own. They didn't come through with the victory, but they fought their ass off. They was oversized, and they fought their ass off, man. They salute, man. Your boys fought hard, man. I couldn't let this show go by without giving them a shout out, man, because they fought their ass off.
Yeah, man, it was a good game, man. That doggone BNU. I know everybody was expecting a blowout, man, but that did not happen.
Did not happen.
We a couple bounces here, there, call here, there, getting out of the win. Really.
Yes, sir.
Well, Uncle Dave has poured him another drink. So we got to hurry up because I do not have a censor button that I can press when it gets too wild. So look, we're gonna go ahead and end this, man. Look, we'll be back hopefully on Wednesday to preview this weekend's upcoming games. And please understand, we still have a SEC preview coming up and probably a Big 12 conference preview coming up, so we can come in and talk to y'all, man. But follow us on all social media, of course, right here on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And you can hit us in a DM. Like I said, make sure you follow us on Anchor. If you like the audio version, make sure you click on that. Find us on there also. This is Down South Football. This is your boy Renard Williams. My Twitter handle is @Renard D. Williams. Get all yours in. Go ahead.
Just follow me on. We just keep it with business now. Just follow me on Twitter @Chauncey Tuck, and that's it. On IG and Twitter and Facebook.
You follow me on Twitter at DL Garden 205. That's it.
And you can always hit your boy up on Twitter and Instagram at I am DJ Double Dose, man. We out, man. Thank y'all, man. Keep listening, man. Keep subscribing, man. Everything, man. We love y'all.
All right, we out, man. We'll holler at y'all later.
Peace.